The game played at breathtaking intensity, and there was a change at half-time that maybe was a bit more subtle this week that Liverpool made compared to at Old Trafford last week, but it was similar.
Yeah, it was a tactical switch, I think, at Old Trafford. I think this one was more Jordan Henderson taking it upon himself maybe to play a little bit more on the right-hand side. I think he nullified Danny Rose's threat, and he had an impression going forward. I think we can see his touch map here. All the touches down the right-hand side. He was creative down the right, and like I say, he nullified the threat of Danny Rose as well. And we see him here. Look how wide he is. I mean, he's a central midfielder playing right at the three, but he crosses the ball here. Fantastic ball in, but he stays out wide, makes his run into the box, and this is where his goal comes from. Fantastic finish. Something he did really, really well at Old Trafford, and obviously, as I mentioned, defensively, stopped Danny Rose from getting forward. And then we see him here when he receives the ball. He's driving. He can play in that position. He's comfortable there. It was something he did at Sunderland just before Liverpool bought him.
When he started out,
he's almost like a wing back at times. So he can play that, and I think he's become a real integral part. You can see what the manager thinks of him there. Oxlade-Chamberlain and Keita played in midweek, and Oxlade-Chamberlain scored 2 goals, and Henderson comes straight back into the side. So I think it shows what Klopp thinks of him.
And as you say, by nullifying the opposing fullback or wing-back, as you say, as it was at Old Trafford, that then allows more space for Alexander-Arnold behind him as well.
It gives him a lot more space, you know, and Henderson can still take that threat as he was with the goal, but, you know, it pushes Danny Rose back and it gives him something else to think about.
I mentioned the whole game was played at great intensity. Certainly one of the things that Spurs have been accused of this season is not being as intense as they have been in previous years under Pochettino, but you saw a return to that in the first half.
Saw it the other day in the Champions League as well, and they carried on today. I have to say, the goalkeeper was magnificent today, but the closing down, you know, you look at Harry Winks, Sissoko, Son today, they really did start this game intensified. And I was more thinking with Spurs, can they keep it going? Can they keep it going? Because they did get people forward when they could. They closed down with pace and organisation. You could see them really getting into Liverpool, and they made it uncomfortable for them. And I saw Manchester United do this with Liverpool, and maybe it was because they was at Old Trafford. Liverpool didn't get out as well as they could, and in the end they got the draw. But Tottenham really put them under pressure today in respects of making them have to go for this game. And Liverpool, you know, this is with Trent Alexander, he wants to go down there. Son gets across, he gets him to come back inside, and then right back into Tottenham's where all the bodies are. And it was really good play from him. You look at this bit here, Sissoko comes out, and then you see Son. Just watch him in a sec. Harry Winks, and then Son, he's out ready to go. And that was the pace and the threat they had. That's what the threat they had, and you know that Spurs have got that in them where they keep them under pressure, and this is where Liverpool, you see Liverpool had to go back. It was really good from Spurs, but Liverpool, for me, they know that draws ain't good enough now. So wins.
I thought there was a desire about Tottenham today that we haven't seen enough of this season. I thought they were, of course, they were in their shape, but they were getting out to people, they were engaging, they were making tackles. Son especially, you have to give a word for him defensively. It was an unbelievable performance, and he offered that threat as well.
The criticism from Spurs fans looking at social media comes from a Pochettino loyalty to maybe players that haven't done it in the past or have made mistakes in the past and are then making still the same mistakes, and it cost them.
Yeah, I don't know if you're alluding to certain...
I am, actually, yes.
Well, we did say it. I mean, the moment that Mane got the ball, we said, you know, it's a potential car crash here, and he has no awareness of where Mane is. Mane's clever, he gets his leg in there, but as I mentioned before, I mean, it's 2-3 penalties, isn't it? I mean, he catches him a few times.
So it's just see, with that penalty, people think the goalkeeper's not moved, but he just jumps off the ground as he's ready to go, and Mosey at that time, and he's got the goal. But what I'm impressed with Liverpool is that the patience and the fact that they know what it takes now, and they know that draws ain't good enough. I keep saying it, and they found another way to win today.
Right, Norwich, Manchester United.
What I enjoyed today really was the way we played. So even if we would have, it's easy to say now, if we would have drawn, or maybe even if we would have lost, if you play 95 minutes like this, I'm really fine. Because usually the result is the result of the performance. That sometimes can happen and it's not the case, but today we played so good. I really liked it. To be honest, I really liked it.
Different phases of the game we were good, but in the end we lose. That is what disappointed us, because this season I think the performance in some games were good, but we didn't get the result that we deserve. And of course, it's affecting our position, but I think it's so early still, and we need to keep working, pushing, and of course, and still a lot of games to play.
Paulo Gazzaniga had a remarkable day, really. I mean, maybe, I don't know, does there come a point at which you start thinking, wow, are we ever going to beat this fella?
Not in the game, you know. When you're in the game, it's just keep the momentum going, keep going. We'll eventually get one. If we kept the pressure on, that's what the team talk was at half time, just to keep going, keep playing the way we have been, and eventually it'll come, and thankfully it did. You know, we kept believing right until the end. Scored a couple of good goals, defended really well. So overall, delighted with the victory.